Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome along to the iRacing Israel League. We're here on Apex Racing TV for round 2 of season 13 of this fantastic championship. Laguna Seca is the setting for this one, 3.57-kilometer circuit in very, very cool 33-degree Celsius conditions. Perfect for racing. I'm Tom Dillon. Alongside me for this broadcast is Avery McDonald. It's Louis Araya in the production booth. Welcome along, Avery. This is set to be a very, very interesting race. We had a fantastic round last time out and expecting more of the same here.
Yeah, if it's anything like last week, it's going to be another fantastic round. You know, Laguna Seca is a way different track than we were at last week, so that's going to be interesting to see how the drivers adapt to this and which drivers are a little bit stronger with the elevation change. So just super excited to be back for another round.
Absolutely, and well, we have the points for you as they run. After just the one round, then GT3 and GT4 on this grid, different to last year when we had MX5 and Toyotas last season, I should say, rather than last year in the summer. Anyway, Regross is at the top after 2 rounds, actually 2 races in this championship, obviously 2 races per night. Now to have Yaron in second, Daniel Lerman, Tal Stern and Alon Day behind them. Yuval Marek is on 11 points, so is Amir Meshila, making up a trio of 11-point runners. Alon Day at the top of that. Mark Zubrev behind them. Yossi Gabe, Arnon Levy, Arthur Elbert and Dor Malka make up the rest of the grid. By my reckoning, Malka actually is making his debut today. I don't believe he was there at that previous round. As for the GT4s, then it's Yehuda Ben Yosef who is at the top of the order. Aviv Cohen just a single point behind Yarin Levy, about 10 points down from that. Gillett Heshke and Bertie Galili make up your top 5 over Mazuz, and Aiden Sher are next. Top 10 is Benny Sturek, Asav Yaran and Ivo Fasinov, with Oren, Kader, Aviad, Yarmakov and Draw last. In last place, with a name like that, a little bit fitting there. Draw last down in last, but only 2 rounds, 2 races into the season, so plenty of time to make up some spots. So let's head down. I think we'll be going to the track in a moment to have a look at these guys in their qualifying session. What are your expectations heading into this one, Avery?
You know, my expectations, you know, with the 2 races, you know, the top 8 invert after the first round of the second race. So I'm really going to see how those drivers around that position are going to try to, you know, you obviously want to get as far as you can, but if you're sitting about the 10th or 11th, if you can work your way up to 8th and get that good starting spot for the second race, That's something I'm gonna really keep an eye on. And then the other thing is you take a look at Alonde, who started towards the back of the pack last week in the second race, and then he overcooked it and spun out and lost a bunch of positions. So that's gonna be a thing to really look out for. Here's the grid for you.
Yes, so qualifying actually taking place a little bit earlier today, so we won't have to go through that one. Reed Gross is on pole, Alon Day is alongside him, Yuval Marek and Nadav Yaron are row 2. Amir Meshulam is on row 3 alongside Arnon Levy, with Tal Stern rounding out the GT3 grid. Row 1 of your GT4s, Aviv Cohen and Draw Last, Asav Yaron and Yarin Levy, and over Mazuz, the making up the top 12 of the overall grid. Then it's Bertie Galili and Yehuda Ben Yosef on row 7, Benny Sorek and Orin Kader on row 8, Ivo Fasnyov and Idan Sher are row 9. Aviat Yamakuf is in 19th position, 19 cars on the grid this evening. That's a fantastic turnout actually from the Israel League. I'll take a look at this for a shot over Laguna Seca. They really treat us with the camera angles, don't they? A nice little panning helicopter shot, but drivers should be making their way onto the grid race shortly, and indeed they are. So I'll now ask you, Avery, which driver do you think is going to emerge victorious here? You're welcome to sell me in both classes, but definitely in the GT3s.
I think with the GT3, it's hard to go against Reem Gross. He's a very talented race car driver and starts on the pole. Starting position's very important here because it's such a technical course. So that's my pick for the win, but at the end of the day, I just want to see some good racing and maybe a good last lap pass for the win for the first heat. So that's my pick. The GT4s, it's anyone's game here. I don't have a pick for the GT4. It's that competitive.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Draw Last has got a chance in that one. I'd probably back him. This is going to get tasty though between Alon Day and Reem Gross, who line up alongside each other on row 1. We're going to get going here then through the final corner here of turn 11, the tightest corner, one of the tightest corners on the racetrack as well. And it's a very, very early start for the number 44 of Reem Gross, who gets away and streams away ahead of Alon Day. The GT4s are getting going, but already we've got a spinner right in the background. Can't quite see who that is. It's come a cropper very, very early on before they've even taken the green flag. That car spinning. It's Shurek down in 12th position. Alon Day then in second. Everyone else has actually streamed through in the same positions. We haven't had many changes in the GT3 order. Neither have we had any changes really in the GT4 order as well. Here's Arnon Levy. He's trying to hold off a position ahead of Tal Stern. That's for 7th and, sorry, this is, I apologise, the other way around. Levy and Meshulam looking for that 5th spot in the GT3 class, looking to the inside line, not quite able to find a way through on that occasion. All a little bit awkward over the sandy parts of this track, and that sand, it's more dry grass than anything, Avery, but it's a very, very difficult thing to keep an eye on.
Yeah, you need to stay on the track here. It's a relatively thin track for an American-style track. So, but here's Levy in that GT4 car putting on a really good run, down one spot to that driver in front of him, getting through the corkscrew. This is a very important part of the track because you got to maintain your good flow. You can't afford to make mistakes in third gear. Going to bring it up to 4th, hard on the brakes, and gets a good corner here. Make sure you hit that apex, because if you don't hit the apex, you're off into the kitty litter.
Absolutely, and out through the final corner, Yarin Levy will try and get himself a little bit of a run on the car just ahead, and he does get a run because there's a mistake. This is going to allow him to get up into 4th position. You think they'll run side by side, Levy and Mazuz, as they go down into turn 1. Technically speaking, turn 1's this kink right here. Then you hit the brakes for the Andretti hairpin, and he does hit the brakes all the way around the outside. Try and hold it to the double apex left-hander, and just about is not going to get that position. Yarin Levy stays in 5th. It's a very staunch defence from Mazuz, this helping out Ben Yosef, who catches up a little bit from these two battling. We'll see if Levy can go to the inside this time by. This is a battle for 10th as well. It's between Ivo Fasinov in the 99 and Cher just ahead. Cher at the moment is holding on to that position though. Yeah,
Fasinov having a really good run here. What's really impressive with this series that we've seen it a couple weeks ago at Sebring, how awesome. Oh, into the contact there, just to miss the apex a little bit, and they're going to be able to get back going though with minimal damage. I drove the GT4 car the other day, and I got quite a bit of damage, and it was still drivable, so it should be okay for the rest of this race.
And now there's a dive bomb down the inside into the corkscrew. Not going to happen in a month of Sundays. That one, Yaron Levy holds on to that spot, but now looks to the inside line on Mazouz. This is round 2 between the two of them, and Levy is going to get through. By the looks of things, Mazouz is awkward, and actually in the background, Ben Yosef has to take evasive action to get away from him. Ben Yosef now looking over his shoulder as Galili starts to apply some pressure to him. And this time, Levy is a little bit awkward again into turn 11. Allows though for Mazouz maybe to get a run out of the final corner into turn 1. The trouble is with the GT4 cars, not a great deal of straight line speed. They're hitting virtually close to their maximum as you go down into turn 1 and turn 2. So it's very, very difficult, but applying the brakes again over Mazouz gets a good run once more. Levy stays ahead, and now I think with Yaron Makouv in the pit lane, by the way, that's an interesting development in this race. But I think over Mazouz is going to have to be working with that car to try and get ahead. Here's a replay, Avery.
Yep, going into the corkscrew. Just something must be wrong with the car. Yep, that's a really close spot to stop on. The one thing I want to put out there is that move by Ben Yosef. Good heads-up driving to avoid Mazouk and Levy there when the incident was about to occur. It could have happened, but a good heads-up driving by him. But back up to the lead. Gross has just pulled away by a couple tenths of a second over Elande, but it's still early in the race. We're not even a quarter of the way through, so we'll see if he's got to maintain pace. You have to just hit your marks. I mean, that's the biggest thing here. Elande a little bit better into the braking zone there in turn 1, but really good battle here for the top spot on the podium.
Very heavy and clunky car, this BMW GT3, which means it's very difficult to lug around a racetrack like Laguna Seca, and these guys are experiencing that right now. Tal Stearns got past Mesha Lama, actually apparently went off the track there for a brief spell. He's back going again by the looks of things, but losing a lot of time there in last spot. Alon Day, though, catching up. He was 3/1000th of a second faster in Sector 1, 1/10th of a second faster in Sector 2. Get there eventually, putting the brakes on into the corkscrew. Then we'll see if Alon Day is able to get a run through this part of the track. Just have to throw the car in and hope it sticks, and I think that's exactly what they've done. But Reem Cross writes at this second isn't really having to drive in his mirrors all too much, as you said, Avery, making sure he hits his marks. We'll see what they can do through into turn 11. However, Alon Day with much better braking performance into that corner once again might have a chance. 0.6 of a second will be the gap at the line. Is Alon Day going to be able to launch a bit of an aggressive dive as we go down into turn 1? I think he's going to be a little bit too far back, and as they put the brakes on heading into turn 2, looks like he is a little bit too far back, but he catches up so much through that braking zone.
Yeah, you can really tell that Day's a little bit better in the braking zone, but here's a Ben Yosef that sitting in that 6th spot trying to get around Mazouk in 5th, and he's kind of buying your time and waiting for that driver to make a mistake, because there he goes, pushes wide a little bit, but going into the final corner, you can't go side by side here because it's so tight and you need to get a good run onto the front straight. So Ben Yosef will live in 6th place for another lap.
We'll see what he can do as we go down into turn 1, trying to get ahead of Mazouz. This for 5th position. And into turn 1, it's a very heavy break as turn 2, I should say. I need to get it right on the official track map. He's collecting it up just about. And, well, almost ran into the back of that car in 5th position. Holds onto it, though, and now Galili starts to pressurise him once again. This fight could go any way between the 3 of them, as Ben Yosef, again, not really having a look at this part of the racetrack. You're pretty much line of stern throughout the entirety of the track, apart from turn 1 here at Laguna Seca. Very, very difficult place to make a move. It almost unbelievable to believe that they run multi-class here on occasion in IMSA, Avery.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting track for multi-class racing. I'm a big fan of it with like your slower Formula cars, but the GT4 would be my favorite car to drive here, so it's cool to see him here. Really good racing with multi-class. We might be the leaders might get into lap traffic a little. I don't think so. It just depends if the slower the GT4 cars start making a mistake. But with the 20-minute race, you don't really need to worry about lap traffic much. But yeah, it's multi-class racing here can get very hectic.
Absolutely, and well, the good thing is we haven't actually had any multi-class battling just yet because the GT3s haven't made their way around the caught up to the GT4s just yet. I'm sure we'll see that at some point in this race as they catch up every single lap. Only 0.3 of a second at the lead, by the way. Alan Day is catching with 20 minutes in this race, though, and we've got 12 to go. Whether he catches enough by the end of this one is a different matter. As you see, Reem Gross now is going to have to go very defensive. We're going into turn 11 and Alan Day is practically pushing him through that part of the racetrack. This could be it then. This could be the battle for the lead that we have been waiting for the last 8 minutes or so. Alan Day puts the power down, gets in the slipstream, gets a little bit of a better run than Reem Gross as we go down into turn 1. But by the looks of things, Reem Gross again is going to be able to hold on to the spot. Alan Day catches up so much to the braking zone once again. It's, well, he's got the real racing driver braking awareness, hasn't he, Alan Day, knowing exactly how to hit his mark in one of these GT4 cars. But once again, Reem Gross knows where to place his BMW GT3.
Yeah, this is a situation here, the cat or the mouse, and I'm a big fan of being the one in second here because driving with somebody in your mirror for 8 minutes and 50 seconds so far can be very nerve-wracking, but it hasn't got to Reem yet. So he's been running really good pace, and you know, Alan Day better into the braking zone, but Reem's been able to get a little bit better exit of the corner. So both these drivers are driving a little bit different as they're catching up to a GT4 car, it looks like.
They are, finally, and that's the traffic that probably Alan Day needs to get a run here. The GT4 car jumps out of the way, and I'm sure, even though technically speaking that's not what you're supposed to do, I'm sure these guys will be pretty happy to see that not getting involved in their battle as Alan Day now puts the power down again out of that turn 11 and will try and get a run. This time he's closer than he was on the previous lap. I'm almost certain as we go down into the kink of turn 1, then turn 2, the first braking zone again. Day will catch up. He's just so much later on the brakes. He needs to hope that he can get to the inside as you go into the second apex of that corner. But again, at the Andretti hairpin, it seems to be Reem Gross that just about has the measure of him. Alan Day catching so much though. And I wonder, is there a sense here of Alan Day maybe just trying to be a little bit playful with his food? Is he trying to wait for the perfect opportunity to pounce? Especially with this GT4 traffic, there will be an opportunity, I'm sure.
Well, when you know you're faster and you're not in a rush to get up to the lead, you're just trying to buy your time for the drivers to make another mistake. So this is from the rear of the GT4 car, sure, and that was your leaders of the GT3 class. See how they go away? A very good clean pass to get through the slower class. So, but yes, I think Alan is waiting for a good opportunity to make a pass and doesn't want to force it. Off goes the GT4 car of Soric, but yeah, he's just buying his time and kind of hoping Reem makes a mistake. But I got news for a lot of you. These guys, these top two they make a mistake very rarely.
Yeah, and with a poor round last time out relative to his champion caliber, I'm sure Alan Day will feel that his mistakes are done for the season, and this might be the move for the lead of the race finally then, as he's all over the back of Reem Gross. But again, he can't draw alongside into the corner, gets very, very close, has to check up so much, Alan Day, and he's again not quite able to go down the inside of your race leader, who holds on once more. The GT4 traffic playing into Day's hands so well, and they're all over the curbs and the sand as they go through this part of the racetrack. Day is all over the back once again of Reem Gross. There's 0.3 of a second between the two of them. Would you believe it? It wouldn't appear so on the television pictures here. But Alan Day again finding out just how difficult it is to pass here at Laguna Seca.
Yeah, it's a very tough course to pass. You just kind of have to hope the guy in front of you makes a mistake. So, I mean, both these drivers have been running picture perfect. Their best lap times are very similar. I mean, which is no surprise for how close they've been racing. But I don't think Day's been able to get that clean air and kind of try to pull away. So, just past the halfway point, 8 minutes left in this race. I know it's so hard to tell if, what's going to happen here, because the commentator and me wants side-by-side battle for the win coming on that final lap, but just Day's just been able to maintain that slipstream. But Reem's been able to get that better corner exit, and that's something we've seen, especially from the cameras we're seeing right now, just how much stronger Alan Day drives in the corner, but just kind of fades away on a corner exit.
And again, similar story as we go through into turn 2, and now throughout the rest of sector 1, Alan Day is just having to stick in behind, and he's wise, Alan Day. Obviously, I'm not going to cliche, as we see very awkward moment with the GT4. I'm not going to cliche his real racing experience, because it should be well established at this point that we know he's got a fair amount of it. He is probably just going to wait for the opportunity to present itself. He knows he's still got 7 minutes to try and make this move. And by the way, our cameras haven't come off of these guys for at least 4 laps now, I think. So definitely giving us the entertainment we need. This could get tasty though as we go down into the corkscrew. They've got some GT4 traffic that they're about to catch up to. This will be all the way through sector 3. So we'll see if that affects our race leader. And Day is almost making a mistake, and he does make a mistake. He just about avoids the GT4, loses him a little bit of time. Now 7/10 of a second the gap. I think he's overcooked his tyres as they went through into the corkscrew. That, if Rennsport can get through this traffic, could end very, very well for your race leader. Gross is able to get through, so is Alan Day, and that sets Alan Day back a couple of laps, you would think, but there's still traffic to contend with here as we go down into turn 2. Day will get clear of them both, and now collects into the back of Rennsport. This is fantastic stuff.
Yeah, Alan Day had a better, the final corner was a little bit better. Didn't have as much of the lap traffic. And I'm not saying the lap traffic was in the way, that's just how multi-class racing is. Ended up working out better for him. So a little mistake he made. He caught a lucky break to catch up back to Reem for the lead. But it's multi-class racing. You never know.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty fine way to summarize it right there. Multi-class racing, you just never know, as Alan Day once again all over the back of Rennsport, who is coping wonderfully with the pressure. It's very easy in these situations to stand here and admire the second place car and how fast they are, but actually Rennsport is playing fantastically well. He's playing this game. He knows how to do it as well. And Alan Day now, as we go through into the left-hand of, well, the back part of the track, there's going to be GT4 traffic, and now they're side by side for the lead of the race. Alan Day dives down the inside, runs through Gross slightly wide. Gross keeps his foot in, and it is a staunch and fantastic defense that's not quite over. Through turn 11 they go. Day checks him up once again, now goes to the inside line. There's contact between our race leaders. Alan Day goes through. Realistically, I think he should probably give that space back. However, he is through, and for now, I don't think he's giving that space back. He's in the lead of the race, Avery.
Yeah, I mean, he had an opportunity to get there, and I think he had to make the move, but side by side in the final corner, it's not the corner you usually want to be side by side with, but I think once we get by that 303, their track's pretty clear, I believe, but here comes a replay of that instance between Day and Gross.
Yeah, just watching this, I watched it again on the YouTube stream actually, and I wonder if there was a little bit of netcode. So that's all fair. Alan Day seizes his opportunity. This again, fantastic racing. I think he gave just enough room as he was entitled to right there. Then back around the outside he went. This is where it gets interesting, because I don't actually think there was contact there. I'm going to do the very, very nice commentator thing and blame netcode on that. So I'm not too certain actually. Alan Day did make contact with him on Alan Day's screen. That looks like netcode to me. They just seem to merge.
Yeah, it's one of those things with online racing. At the end of the day, netcode or not, the race goes on. So 16.5 minutes down, and this race is not over. Yes, Alan Day was able to get over and get the lead, but I mean, you still got to run a good race. You still have to hit every corner, every apex, and get good corner exit. There's your leader of the GT4 class.
And a fantastic race for Aviv Cohen as well. We've got a car out, I should say. Force of habit right there. Loses out, and Meshalam is out of the race by the looks of things. So he falls out of 7th in the GT3. He's going to be out of the race. You would think Aviv Cohen doing very well getting out of the way of your GT3 runners. What a fantastic run it's been for him. This is Rennsport, and this is Alan Day, and he's side by side. Didn't even clock that was going on right now. Rennsport goes to the inside line as we go through into the corkscrew, not able to get alongside, and I think a dive into the corkscrew would be very, very aggressive indeed. I don't think you want to be particularly going for a move into there, but you can get a fantastic run out of the corkscrew, and that's exactly what Reem Gross has done. He'll be all over the back of your series champion as we go through into turn 11 right now, heading through into the right-hander of 10. Gets a good exit through there, very, very tidy from the former race leader. As we go down into turn 11 now, Day is a little bit more all over the curbs, a little bit better through that part of the track. However, Reem Gross will try and get the exit and use the benefit of that slipstream as we go down into turn 1. Is there a chance for Reem Gross to try and get through? He's very, very far back as we ride on board with the number 44 into turn 1. Breaks later than Alan Day, but not quite able to sneak through. We're probably into the final 2 laps of the race. I don't believe they took the white flag this time by. I think it will be next time by.
I want to see what happens here going into turn 5. Not this right-hander, but the next left-hander. That's where Alan Day went into the gravel, and that's where he lost his time and allowed Reem to get back up to him. So we'll see if he goes into the corner a little bit better. Yes, he does.
So perhaps from here, a minute and a half to go in this race, one more opportunity for Reem Gross to try and get through. It's going to be into that final lap and into turn 2, which is effectively turn 1, the first braking zone of the circuit. I think he's got to hope that he gets a little bit of fortune here as well with Alan Day perhaps making a slight mistake or something that just gives him that run to get ahead. He knows Alan Day's got the pace of him, and how do you race someone when they have got better pace than you? That is the question that Reem Gross is going to have to be very quick to find the answer to as we go through turn 10 for what should be the penultimate time in this one. I believe we've just about got enough time to sneak one more lap in. We do. A minute left. We're going to go into turn 2, and Alan Day is going to be clear of the lead.
Yeah, when you're chasing on the with the last couple laps of a race, you have to, you can't really change your driving style. You can't drive it in too much deeper because that's just going to hurt you. You just got to keep running his pace. He is better going up the hill to the corkscrew, so we'll see if he's going to have a chance to make the pass.
We will. Final opportunity for Reem Gross then. His moments are counting down. It's been a fantastic drive from Alan Day to actually bide his time and get to the lead of the race in the first place, but it won't really be much encouragement to Reem Gross, who defended so well for much of that first stint of this 20-minute sprint race. And well, eventually Alan Day is able to get through. He's onto the grass though. He's doing that pretty much every lap as we go into the corkscrew. That gives Reem Gross a little bit of a run. Was it a mistake for Alan Day? Last has fallen down a little bit as Ben Yosef gets through. Last falls down into 8th position. In fact, goes to the pit lane. He's made a mistake. So as we run to the line here in the GT3s to try and decide this race, Reem Gross has caught up so much to Alan Day in the final couple of corners. Through turn 10 they go. And one last opportunity. The checker flag is in the air, ready to receive these guys. And it's a mistake for Reem Gross. But will there be a drag race to the line? Alan Day, for now, looks like he is clear at the lead of the race, and by 0.8 of a second takes victory here at Laguna Seca in your first race of 2 this evening. It's a good drive into 3rd for Yovel Marek. And, Yaron finishes in 4th. We're about to crown Aviv Cohen as well as your GT4 winner here at Laguna Seca. Taz Stern will be next across the line in 6th position. Draw Last is out of pit lane, by the way, so he is going to take the checker flag. He'll check checker flag right now in 8th position, so it's a decent run, all things considered, for him. I'm sure he'll be thinking of what could have been after that final lap. And what's happened here to your race leader? He has finished the race. He took the checker flag. Gave me a heart attack there, Avery, but there you go. Aviv Cohen wins in the GT4.
You scared me, and I was like, oh no, he's done, but he is done with the win. That was a good one, man. It's always a good time to get a little scared though every once in a while calling one of these races.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll tell you, had a very easy job that race in thank you to our top 2. And after about lap 5, all we had to do was keep our cameras on the top 2 having a battle. Oh dear, there you go across the line. That's for 10th position. And that is fast enough, getting ahead of Cher, a little bit of a bumper pass. We are going to have a replay of that as the number 2 car tries to get himself spun back around. But yeah, I was going to say a very easy job for Louis Araya, who all he had to do was keep the cameras and put the right camera angles on our top 2. I had the battle. Here we go then. Aidan Cher. And what happened here in this battle? Gets the exit. And was there a spin on the outside line? No, they're just going to come. Oh, what? Okay. What happened there? netcode, perhaps?
Yeah, just the early apex, and that kind of ruins your run out of the corner. And coming to the finish line, they just collided. They collided, and they're going to go, we're going on to the next race. Now, the one thing before we get to this, look at the top two from the invert, GT4s.
You do have a very good point, and that is going to be very, very interesting, because that basically means that it's a while before our GT3s are actually able to have their own battle. But it is Yarin Levy who starts on pole. Aviv Cohen starts alongside him on row 1. Tal Stern and Arnon Levy on row 2. Nadav Yaron and Juval Marek on row 3. Reen Gross and Alan Day are row 4. Asaf Yaron and Ofer Mazuz at the top 10. Yuda Ben Yosef and Bertie Galili through to 12. Then row 7 is Oren Kaida and draw last Benny Surek and Idan Sher, row 8. Ivo Fastinov and Aviad Yamakuv, row 9, with Amir Meshalam, a sole runner, on row 10. And I have to say, that's going to be interesting. First of all, I would suggest that perhaps that is a rule that needs to be assessed as we head into the next race of the season, because it doesn't seem fair to me that you can have two GT4s basically get a leg up on the rest of their field. However, I'm sure it's an unforeseeable circumstance that will be addressed. But right now, it creates a very interesting turn 1. Let's wait and see then. Take a deep breath through turn 11. It's Yarin Levy on pole position in a GT4 car. Aviv Cohen will be alongside him, and as we put the power down, it's going to be a mass of cars into turn 1. They're going to be 4 wide as the GT3s try and get their way through of all his GT4 traffic, who are just trying to squeeze their way out of the way and make sure that nothing dramatic happens. This is all very, very treacherous as we go through turn 2. And I think in the end, it's going to be just about Yovel Marek in the lead of the race from Tal Stern. Alan Day is in 3rd. Levy and Cohen eventually fall straight back to the GT4 runners. That didn't take long at all, but fair play to them for just getting out of the way as they went into turn 1. I think they understood that they didn't need to battle there. Alan Day up to 2nd, by the way.
Yeah, Alan Day and Marek were able just to squeeze through when you could. It was just a great deal of driving. And, contact made with Gross and Stern. So not quite sure what happened there, but a little bit of contact before they go up the hill.
And Ringcross continues on into 4th position, but again, he is really, I suppose, making those two, getting himself in a battle at the start of in the wars at the start of this race. That's for certain 21 minutes ahead of them, and Yovel Marek, I imagine Yuval Marek, I should say, will be looking over his shoulder now at Alan Day. Look at him, he is charging for the lead.
Yeah, we'll really see what Alan Day can have for times with, fresh tires and then some clean air, trying to run him down for the lead. But what a chaotically awesome start that was.
Chaotically awesome. I mean, I did say maybe it's something that the league needs to address, but actually no, you can keep it going with it. That was fantastic stuff out of race 1. I mean, out of race 2. I mean, it's telling to me as well as last gets past Ben Yosef, by the way. It's telling to me as well that actually those guys were straight back in the GT4 field as soon as turn 2 was over.
Yeah, once they get, the GT3 cars got by them, they're able to, be back with the class. But take a look at the replay of that start, and I want to.
We'll get there, Avery.
We'll get there.
Here we go.
It's all good, man. I tell you what though, Tom. Here we go. The restart. This is, if you're sitting in a GT3 car, you're going, well, I got to get moving right away. Otherwise, we can we'll sit behind. So you'll see a couple drivers. You'll see Marek go to the right side, I believe, and then Alan Day just kind of zipper his way through.
Yeah, this is very, very brave for that car on the outside. That was Marek, I believe, who goes sailing on through to the lead. Alan Day thread the needle and was able to get through into 3rd. Again, very aware driving with the GT4s. They knew as long as they stayed to their line, that could have ended badly if they didn't, because of course they could have been going side by side into turn 1. Then you add GT3s going side by side as well, and all of a sudden you get this massive cars, and it is just all very, very unsavory. But at the end of the day, they drove well and they got away with it. Here's Ofer Mazuz down the inside. That's of a GT4, and there's a GT4 that's crashed in the background. Not too sure who that is. It's Draw Last who's in pit lane. And oh dear, now straight into the back of him goes over Mazouz. That's Nadav Yaron that he's gone straight into the back of, able to carry on okay. So no major drama right there for Nadav Yaron as they both go off of the racetrack for a brief moment in time. Looks like Nadav Yaron gets it collected up and is okay with those definite contacts.
Yeah, that was a little bit of a crash there. One thing I want to take a look at is Alan Day back in the 5th place. Here's a replay of that instance. I mean, kind of seen it a couple weeks ago on the second heat race. Yeah, just a little oversteer, and the car was rotating and unmotivated to go around that corner.
They had a little bit of trouble with that oversteer in race 1, didn't he? And is experiencing it again. Almost lost the car in that battle for the lead. Obviously, eventually getting the win. There's over Mazouz, round 2. This time he's spun around and into the gravel. I'm sure we'll get a replay of that in a moment as the GT4 goes all the way off to try and avoid him. As into the carousel. Was there any contact between anyone, or did he just get it dropped? He was side by side for a moment. Went to the inside line and there was just contact. They just merged together. I don't think maybe he saw the car on the inside. Maybe the car on the inside didn't see him. I'm not too sure, but at the end of the day, that ends up with him in the gravel and now trying to attack Kaidar.
Yeah, it's very tough to go side by side here at Laguna Seca. Once you get off the racing groove, your car's going to kind of slip around a little bit. But, you know, if the race ain't over for Mazouk, he's going to try to keep on that good pace. He's been running really good pace, and we'll see if he's able to make a move, though. A little bit of front end damage, though, but that'll happen when you bumper car someone.
Yeah, I think that's the least that you can expect from that situation. Brave dive down the inside though for Mazouz and gets himself up a spot as well. So that's a fantastic position gain for him, as now Alon Day is back for seconds and goes down the inside to get himself into 3rd position. Course Nadav Yaron napping a little bit there, just spent an incredible move down the inside. 5.1 seconds now, 5.2 seconds up to 2nd place, then 3.2 further up to the lead. I don't think Alon Day has got a great chance here in this race of particularly getting the race win, but certainly that podium is beckoning his name right now. That was a really, really tidy move.
Yeah, just really curious. When the drivers complete this lap, we'll get a good last lap time for you. Marek, your leader, he's a little bit slower than Reem Gross, and then Alon Day, the last lap was quicker, the fastest on the track right now, so we'll just have to see what happened. Here's the replay of that pass for Alon Day, right on the gearbox going into that final corner. I don't think he was trying to outbrake him there, just it kind of happened, you know, like he looked like he was trying to stay in line, just able to get on the brakes a little bit better to make the pass. So Day up to 3rd place.
Absolutely, and I mean, we always have that awkward moment where we sort of, I actually had one the other day in a multi-class race. I was in a GT3, sort of put the brakes down, realised that I'd put the brakes down too hard, ABS kicked in, then all of a sudden realised I was side by side with the car ahead, and decided, okay, well, it looks like I've gone for a dive bomb then, and was able to get through. Seems like Alon Day, albeit with a little bit more skill than me, has done exactly the same thing. We look at Reem Gross now, who's catching up to the race lead. 7 minutes into this one, as there's just been a pass, by the way, for the GT4 lead, as Levy was passed by Cohen. Cohen now gets back down the inside. These two are going to go side by side. Levy all the way around the outside. Cohen tries to hold on to it, and Levy is going to go off of the racetrack. Collects it very, very nicely and avoids the barrier. That is a fantastic save, but that won't do much to encourage him, because the race lead and perhaps the race win was well and truly on right there. Yaron, by the way, into the pit lane, so keeping an eye on what's going on there. Probably too much damage to that 482. He's going to pull it into the pits. Whether he'll retire or not is a different question, but I was trying to say that Reem Gross is catching for the lead of the race, and with 12 minutes to go, surely looks like favourite to take the race victory.
You know, the same spot that Mazouz went off the track too, side by side. It's very tough to go side by side there. So what I wanted to say, the last lap, Marek, your leader, 2 seconds slower than Reem Gross, and then who was faster than them? Alon Day, 0.3 quicker than Gross. So he's catching them. Not even quite to the halfway point yet. So if you're Marek, you just got to try to make your pace and try to make your car as wide as possible in a legal manner to defend that lead. So a little bit better lap there for Marek. He had a couple mistakes, so tenth of a second quicker, was second place, and then Allende was put down the fastest lap of this feature event, a 1 minute 21.26. So they're all catching the leader, but it's one thing to catch them; it's another thing to pass them.
Absolutely, a cliche, but one that rings true in this situation, especially around a racetrack as difficult to pass on as Laguna Seca. Marek then lost 200ths of a second through sector 2. 1.2 is the gap. Rennsport has been caught by Alan Day as well, so actually all of a sudden Alan Day has had some fantastic pace in this race, and after catching, well, he's caught best part of 5 seconds now, and it would have been 8 up to the race leader, so this is quite unbelievable stuff from Alan Day, who inserts himself into the equation now. Scher and Last have just had a 2-car incident, I believe. They fall behind Mazuz and Yamakuv. Last actually, Draw Last is going to fall a little bit behind the rest of them. He goes into 12th, but we keep an eye on our race leaders because it's now under a second. DRS would be enabled if these cars had DRS, of course, as you see there, a GT4 on the left-hand side, and that is encouragement for Rennsport. Now Alan Day falls into the second mark of him. However, it's 1.09 at the top of the field.
Yeah, last lap, Day was the quickest of the 3. I do think a little bit of the corner exit on that final corner when you have that GT4 car can kind of scare you a little bit. If you're Alan Day, what do? It's like, you're a little bit faster. Do you try to make the pass? But you can't battle too much because then that's just going to allow the lead car or Marek to pull away. So we'll see what Alan Day can do. It's such a tough track to pass. It's not like he has an experience from the first race of being behind Rennsport.
Yeah, well, very experienced in that situation, isn't he? Is Alan Day as he goes through now into the left-hander of turn 6. Then we go down the Rahal straight. Didn't know it was named after Rahal, but apparently it is, according to my track map. And now into the corkscrew. They go down the hill and very, very awkward. Bit of a roller coaster, part of that track. Now Alan Day catching so much, 5 tenths a second already, 5 tenths on this lap. Race leader about to catch up to GT4 traffic. That'll make it interesting through into turn 1. There's a lot of GT4 traffic actually that's going to be a factor with these guys. Day gets a little bit deep into that part of the track. And now, as we see GT4 traffic being a factor through turn 1 and into turn 2, this could open up the battle for the leaders. Can they get through all this traffic? Alan Day is nowhere in the picture. He goes for a dive bomb. He knows exactly how to do that. And that is a fantastic piece of race management from the number 1 car, as is a fantastic piece of race management from Rennsport, who now catches all the way up to the race leader. There's only 8 tenths a second in between the two of them, and there's more traffic right ahead of them. The traffic is battling. It's Yaron and Scher, and this is going to be interesting. There's contact, and through goes Rennsport to the lead of the race. Yuval Marek is tripping over some of the GT4 cars, and now it turns into a 3-way battle for the lead. Rennsport in the lead, Alan Day still in 3rd. He's going to start to apply some pressure on to Marek. We know that was going to end nastily. It did end nastily, and boy, have we now got an interesting final 8 minutes.
Yeah, it's such a chaotic moment there. None of the GT4 cars did anything wrong. They're just side by side, and there's not a lot of room. And when you're Marek, you're like, oh no, that's like the worst thing that could have happened to me. But the race is not over for him. We're going to go back and take a look at a replay here. As you see, those 2 GT4 cars battling hard for position. And Marek just so tough when you have a Rennsport going to your right side. It's like, what do you do? They're able to get through it. Yes, minimal damage, but just a racing incident. Things happen, especially with multi-class racing. Oh, wow, look at Alan Day drive into that corner like he's been doing all day. No pun intended.
Racing incident. He was just boxed in, wasn't he? And it was very difficult. As now Alan Day looked to the outside line, didn't see over Mazuz, and almost collected Marek. He needs to get past as a matter of urgency, though, because it will then only be 7 minutes to catch up to Rennsport, who is faster than these two at the moment. Obviously, Alan Day stuck in this traffic as we go through the left-hander of turn 5. We'll see if Alan Day is able to find a way through at any part of this track. I do think, though, there was a sense there with Marek of literally he had nowhere to go. As I said, he was completely boxed in. You can't just hit the brakes because then you collect someone behind you. So what can you physically do in that situation? I think you called it correctly. I think just a pure racing incident.
Yeah, you just kind of cross your fingers, figuratively, and just kind of hope that you're going to be able to get through it as good as possible. And yeah, he lost his position, but at the end of the day, he's still sitting second place, and that's the beauty of racing.
Yes, but for how long is the question, because Alon Day gets a fantastic run out of turn 11. There's some GT4 traffic getting involved. I'm not sure as extensively as last time. Maybe into turn 2 it will be a factor as we go down into turn 2. Alon Day gets the inside line. He finds a little bit of space on the racetrack, gets himself into second position. Is there a fight back from Marek as we go out of the corner? There's a wiggle from Alon Day, eventually covers off the position. He's in second position and now has 1.5 lead. Oh no, he's not, because he spins it. And for the second time today, Alon Day makes a mistake at that same corner. A lot of his hard work is immediately undone.
Yeah, and Marek had a incident beforehand, got into the gravel and got sideways, and then got a lucky break with Alon Day with that oversteer. He's been really struggling with that. Was to take a look back at a replay of this pass and then the next pass.
It was a fantastic move down the inside, you know, absolutely fantastic. It was such an aggressive dive, but he was given the space. So often you see drivers there, they just decide to turn in, and no, they was given the space and then just got the car completely wrong out of the exit of that corner.
Yeah, that was a good timing of no T-bone action there. So very good job by Marek to avoid Alon Day. But Rennsport just, you know, he's looking in that mirror with a smile on his face, because nothing like having about a 1.5 second gap, and then it grows to 2.5 because the two drivers behind you get involved in an incident. So he's the one got a big smile on his face, like you see on his picture.
Yeah, I mean, especially when you know you were being caught by those two drivers, and maybe it'll be redemption for Rennsport in 4 minutes time or so. Still time in this race, I should mention, and I stress that as well. There's still time in this race for Alon Day to try and do something. He's certainly up against it, and maybe just overcooked the tyres a little bit, and that costs him some time on in the race. Rennsport, though, will feel like he's got a clear run up to the line now with 4 minutes to go. Again, as we get to the line, probably 3 laps to go. Once he crosses the line, possibly 2. We'll wait and see how it stacks up. But at the end of the day, it looks like it's pretty smooth sailing for the 44, who felt like he perhaps should have won that first race. Arguably, maybe bumped out of the way in winning that first race. I'm not going to pass any particular comment on that incident. I think Netcode possibly involved in that as well, but he may feel hard done by. By the way, I want to take a look at the 7th place in the GT4s. It looks like we've got some side-by-side action over there between Cher and Fasyanov. Not quite going to happen in the end. And there's a car off. That is Yaron Makouv. These two go through, Aiden Cher and a car behind of Fasyanov, and now he goes down the inside as Fasyanov. Down the inside and into a spot, I think, force him out wide. The GT3 gets it recollected and tries to get through in the end. Aiden Cher breaks early and pulls out of the way. Kaidar will fancy his chances as we go down into turn 1.
Yeah, it's always a good opportunity. We can go around the outside. So really good pass by them. But this GT4 division, very tight throughout the field. They're always racing against somebody. So that always makes sim racing fun, because when you're slow like me, you race around nobody. So really good battle in here for these drivers. But man, racing's a game of mistakes, and you know, you've seen some critical mistakes in this race between multiple drivers. Just a slight mistake, especially at a track like Laguna Seca.
Alon Day then is catching up, but perhaps not enough to Marek as we cross the line. There will be 2 laps to go, and he's done it again. Alon Day in the wars today. Will still result in a podium for him, but well, he's made another mistake and now needs to look over his shoulder, because Nadav Yaron smells a podium here in this race, particularly with Alon Day struggling with his setup like he is struggling right now. Nadav Yaron, the 22 car, goes down the inside of the GT4 into turn 1, and then has a clear racetrack to try and attack the 3rd place runner of Alon Day. Not really sure what's happened to Alon Day here. We will have 1 more lap to go after this one, but he just, I think maybe he's just struggling with how oversteery this car might be. I haven't driven it myself, so I can't tell you. But maybe he's just upset at the oversteer, and it's making him have a few mistakes.
Yeah, that could be. It's happened, quite a bit, more than, one would think would happen here at Laguna Seca. So right now, when you got a minute left to go, you just got to regroup and just try to finish the race. And Yaron goes a little bit off track there, but we'll see. He's kind of going, come on, Alon, fingers crossed. Please do it again so I can catch up to you. So we'll see what happens here in the 19-minute mark. I believe they're taking the white flag this time.
Yeah, it will be the white flag this time, but I don't think Reem Gross is going to be able to back him up for 50 seconds to make it go one less lap. So he starts the final lap himself. Marek is 1.6 down. The battle really being between Day and Yaron. Marek has kept pace with your race leader, to be fair, and caught up to him a little bit towards the end of this sort of final stint of the race. But I think it won't be quite enough on this final lap. Alon Day then is in the lead. Here is Oren Kaidar. Is he going to have a battle with Cher? I think he is. As we go through the corkscrew, he takes a better line through that corner, if indeed you can take a line through that corner. So you just throw it in and hope it sticks. But again, he'll have a sense here at 9/10 of a second to maybe chuck one down the inside as we go into turn one, and what will also be your GT4 car's final lap of the race. Of course, these are classed on the same lap as the GT3s mostly, so that will mean they won't take the checker flag even though the time has expired. Checker flag will be in the air for the GT3s. Alon Day made a little mistake. His name flashed red on our timing screen for a moment. There's the white flag in the air. And, well, is this going to yield something a little bit awkward for Alon Day if he's still struggling with that car as we head into the latter stages of this final lap? We've just exited the corkscrew. He's going through the left-hander now, and I think it is going to be redemption for Reem Gross. One more corner to go now, and here he is. Finished second in the first race, will finish first in the second. Absolutely fantastic drive from him in very, very difficult circumstances. Marek finishes in second. Alon Day will recover to third, and well, a frustrating day for him, I think. However, I think both of our first and third place runners will feel very, very happy with how their day has gone. Alon Levy finishing in fifth. I think if you get 2 podiums in 2 races, you'll feel pretty good about yourself regardless. Cohen, he's going to make it 2 from 2 in the GT4s.
Yeah, very competitive field. Here's the battle for a little bit carnage there between Schur and I believe might have been no, Keider's able to pull away. Take a look at a replay here.
And well, it was all very, very awkward. I didn't share, went down the inside, and it was a bit of a kamikaze move, I'm afraid to say. I don't think it was quite on, even if he maybe thought it was. So just a miscalculation from Maidan Share.
There's 3 sides to every story. The other guy's fault, my fault, and what happened. So, but yeah, really good battle here for that GT4. And then when you're right before you get to that corkscrew, Tom, it's like, okay, I'm getting ready to close my eyes and try to make it through this thing without wrecking the cars. So close your eyes, ride the coaster. But what a great battle here. Super run by all the drivers.
So here we go then. Here's your results with Reem Gross taking the victory. Yuval Marek in second. On Day rounds out the podium. Is Nadav Yaron, Arnon Levy and Tal Stern. Aviv Cohen wins in the GT4s. Yaron Levy in second. Yehuda Ben Yosef, your top 3. Then it's Ben Sorek and Ofer Mazuz. Ivo Fasinov was busy in that race, finishes ahead of Oren Kaidar, who himself finishes ahead of Bertie Galili, your top 15. Aviad Yarmakov. Adin Share draw last, and Asav Yaron, the 18 cars to take part in that feature race. Amir Meshalam, he never took the start.
Now, one thing with Tom, going from Laguna Seca with elevation change, well, in 2 weeks' time, Road America, a completely different track, twice the length and track, flat, awesome spots for overtakes. So, man, this one was great, but we go to Road America, a little more passing opportunities. I think it should be a really good one.
Yeah, absolutely. And Road America is a fantastic track. We're just going to hang around here for a couple of minutes. It's not very often that our drivers like to pop up for interviews here in the iRacing Israel League, but we're just going to take a second to see if any of them indeed decide to do so. So I'll ask you, Avery, we're 2 rounds into the season now, 4 races make up those 2 rounds. And we've seen actually that we've got a couple of championship contenders. I'm calling the story right now between Reem Gross and Alon Day, but it seems to have been a different Alon Day in these first 2 rounds than what we're used to seeing here in the Israel League, perhaps.
Yeah, I think the biggest difference you see between Reem Gross and Alon Day in the first 4 rounds is Reem's able to just maintain a good line and not I'm not saying overdrive the car, but he's able just to maintain good pace and hit the apexes. And then when Alon Day gets a little bit of pressure, he seems to get a little oversteer out of the corners. Maybe it might be Laguna Seca just for how the track is. But, the one thing is it's still early in the season. You can always make up your finishes. So we'll have to see as we go into a different track at Road America in a couple weeks. So really good battling though for that podium spot. I mean, there's no time I ever felt bored today. So
yeah, absolutely. And by the looks of things, I don't think we've got anyone who wants to chat to us, which is a shame. But we won't take offence, Avery. Anyway, thank you all very much for watching. Myself, Tom Dillon, Avery McDonald alongside me. Louis Araya has been in the production booth. Join us in 2 weeks' time for a wonderful race at Road America. But until then, we'll see you all later. Good night.